Oh, good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in. Here we are, another episode or another video for the Inspired Women Inspire Women series. And let me tell you why I am completely honored to have this morning's guest with us. Sara Ford is who inspired me. And so, Sara, you will never know what you have done for me as far as personally in my business, and you are the reason this series was created. I give you credit in all of the videos because I never want to steal what you built, what you've been doing. You have been featuring different leaders on your YouTube channel, and you had me as a guest. And when you and I sat down, a fire ignited in me that I I wanted to provide the same thing, and not the same. I don't want to be a copycat of you, but I have to give you the credit that you've inspired me to broaden, because you have sat down with leaders and now I've had the ability to sit down with some leaders, and we have broadened the scope of those that people can tune into. And so for that, I appreciate you so much. I want everybody to look at your beautiful face and say thank you to Sara, because this was born because of her. Um, so thank you. Thank you
Thank
for that.
you.
Thank you for sitting down with me, and thank you for letting me share you with my world and the world. And so tell us, who are you?
Oh goodness. Well, thank you for having me. I am completely honored. I am just really excited to be here. Well, I am a small town girl from Indiana who lives in a little bit of a bigger city now. I'm a mom and a wife and all the things that women are, I guess, a friend, a maid, you know. I This is such a hard question because I don't usually talk about me like this.
Yeah.
Um, I would like to think that people would see me as someone who is kind and funny and helpful, I guess. Those are characteristics. I don't know if that's what you're getting at, but
Yeah, and you can say this is your floor. You can say any. Um, and what's cool is those three things I see you are very well. You
oh,
are
thank you.
definitely funny. You're
Oh,
definitely
thank
funny. But you are kind and you are helpful. So
you. Thank you.
go ahead. Continue.
Appreciate that. I don't know what else to say. I'm also really pretty lazy. If we're gonna be real.
We are going to be real. So what's the road that led you to Scentsy? What did you do prior, and how did you find Scentsy? And kind of walk us through that.
Sure. Um, so I went to college. I got my degree in family science, which is like it's like a pre-med for counseling. So it's like pre-counseling. I never went to grad school because I had so much credit card, or not by credit card debt, but I also had student loans, and I went to a private Christian school. So it was very expensive. So I never ended up going. And so I just worked in social work and in mental health with kids. And then I um, got engaged to my husband, and in August, we got married in March of 2013, and in August of 2012, I decided to join Scentsy based on caramel pear crisp because I loved it. I had one Scentsy warmer. It was the Autism Speaks warmer. And that was the one Scentsy warmer I had. And if I'm being completely honest, when I bought that warmer, the consultant, her name is Heather, no clue what her last name is. She never followed up with me, so I don't know who she is. So if you're watching, that was probably a mistake. No, I'm kidding. So I bought this warmer and a bar of baked apple pie because she said that was like a favorite. Well, I did not like baked apple pie. It was not strong enough for me. I have a very weird nose, and it just didn't work for me. And so I thought, Okay, well, this isn't, I'll just keep buying from, the other place. And so then Christina Stainbrook, who is my sponsor, was posting about Caramel Pear Crisp and raving about it. And I was like, well, maybe I should try it. So I messaged her and I was like, listen, I'm going to a festival this weekend. If they have somebody there, I'll grab one. If I like it, I'll order some more from you. So I went and he actually had it, and I smelled it and I was like instantly in love. I joined a week later, so that I can make $800. And then I was probably just going to quit. I just needed $800 to pay for our flights to California for our honeymoon. And, you know, 5 years later, we went back to California completely free with Scentsy. So, kind of crazy, huh? So that's kind of how I ended up with Scentsy. And I switched jobs and worked at a school for a couple of years, head director while I was working at the school, and felt like I was just working so hard for someone else, and I could be working so hard for me to improve my life, because I knew that when I was going to have a child, I was going to stay home. And I didn't know what that looked like. I thought I would probably just have to get a part-time job, just so we would have extra money. And then Scentsy kind of replaced the idea of having to get a part-time job. And now I'm, a superstar director with Scentsy. So, and I have my 4-year-old and he's at preschool now. And, it's pretty awesome.
Did you make that $800?
Oh, I did. Yeah, probably. I think my first month, I think I sold, well, I joined at the end of August, but I think in September I made probably, I don't know, probably $500 or $600. And then I had Sensational Start 1, so I'm sure I made it in the first couple of months. Mm-hmm. And then I just kind of kept saying, well, I guess whatever else I make after this $100 that I spent is just kind of extra, like doesn't hurt anything for me to make this extra money, So I just kept doing it, but I loved the products.
When did it flip, or when did the switch, flip that you were like, I could probably make a business out of this. Was it when you hit director? Because I think for me, that's when I kind of really was like, oh.
No, I know the exact moment. So I was listening to Lindsay Bates' call with you the day before yesterday, and she talked about how the first convention was super easy for her to go to because it was where her parents lived. So it was in Indianapolis the first year I went to Scentsy Family Reunion. And I stayed with my friend who lived in Indianapolis, who I didn't really see that often. And so we were able to connect. I didn't really know anybody, but everyone said it was really important to go. I was almost a year in, so I went to Reunion. And I'm an extrovert, so it doesn't bother me to kind of be around people I don't know, but there was definitely a level of intimidation. But I met this girl whose name was also Sara, and also it was the year that Kelly Clarkson did a concert for us, and I'm pretty convinced that that's probably why I went, because Kelly Clarkson is, she's amazing and I love her. And so I probably went for that. And I remember trying to get one of the executives to let us back in the backstage, let me go back there and meet her. Let me go back. He's like, I can't do that. So anyways, Janae Sexton got on the stage and she shared about, I don't even remember all the things she said, but she shared that it was really important for her to be able to go to her boys' sporting events for their baseball. And she just shared from the heart about how being a director and having that freedom to be able to kind of walk in that journey and like not have to worry about whether she can make it to their games because she has this business that's providing for her family. And it just struck a chord in me. And I was like, what is this? You know, like, I just thought that this was like, I love Scentsy because I love the products and I'll just sell. Because I hadn't recruited a single person. Not one person had joined my team. And I was like, I don't have a clue how I'm going to do this, but I'm going to be a director one day. I never thought about being a star director, superstar director. I just thought about being a director because that's like, to me, what it seemed like. Well, you've made it if you hit a director, right? If you hit director, then that's that. And so Sara, who was sitting next to me, we kind of looked at each other and we were like, we'll do it together. You know, we'll do it together and we'll make it. So Sara doesn't sell anymore. She quit not super long after that. And I made new friends and I just kept going. And the next month I recruited my first consultant. And she was a really good recruiter too. And that was the moment where I was just like, I'm going to go for it. And I'm not going to lie. Like, I had never, I went to college. Yeah, I graduated. Wasn't like a super great student. I didn't make like a ton of money. I wasn't like, whatever I thought everyone else was. And so I think a lot of me didn't believe that it would ever happen because I never really accomplished a lot, which is false. But I just didn't have that confidence in me to think like, but through Scentsy, I found that I could accomplish goals and I could become better. And so, but that was the moment that I was like, this is really something and it could really change things for me.
Yeah. And I think that that's so common. In fact, I know it's so common. So many of us, most of us even, start this path and we don't know what we're doing, obviously. We don't really intend, we don't have these exceedingly high expectations that we're going to just fire out of a cannon and make all the things happen. And then there's little moments along the way where things start to click. And then you kind of realize, because I remember being at that pivotal moment where I was like, I thought I was only going to do this for 6 months. Like, you get in, you make a little bit of money, you got some product, you get what you want, and you get it, because that's kind of the nature of what people believe about this industry. And instead, and what's been proven so much about by sitting down with so many of the women in Scentsy that have made a go at this, that this really is a place that you can stay. You can carve out a place for yourself, and so much more about personal development and, skill set, skill set increasing. And Scentsy is just that vehicle that kind of drove us down this road. What would you say are some of the things that, I think you said confidence might even be one of them, but what are some of the things that, because of your Scentsy business, fill in the blank? How have you seen yourself grow?
I
know it's
always, I don't let people make me feel small. And I think that that's something that even in the last year has shifted. And I have to be reminded sometimes, like, to chill, like, to kind of humble myself again. And I say that, like, that sounds so weird and it's going to be so hard to explain, but I'm so proud of myself that sometimes I think I talk about it a lot, and so I think it sometimes comes off as like I'm boastful, you know what I mean? And it's I just have never been so proud of myself for anything, you know? And I want to tell other people, because I want people to know that no matter what you do, you can do it too. Whatever it is, whether I don't know. I mean, whether you join a different company, whether you are working towards the top of the company that you work for, whether it's just being like the, not just, but being the best mom ever, or the best soccer coach, or, you know, whatever it is that you want to do, I want people to know, like, if I can do this, if I can go from where I was as a social worker, making, you know, next to nothing, and work my way up to being the highest rank in a company. Obviously, I didn't do it by myself. You know, I don't want anyone to think that, because without that first person that joined my team, none of this would have been possible. None of this would have happened. She was so important and so pivotal in my mindset. She pushed me and inspired me to always be a step above. And it wasn't a competition. It was like, I want to be better because I want to be better for her. You know what I mean? And I hope that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
it doesn't make me sound like an like
Oh,
super whatever.
no, not at all. And actually, that kind of leads into the importance of having and finding friends within this business
Mm-hmm.
that can inspire you, can hold you accountable, can push you, that you can lean on. Because we as women, we need, I mean, this is why women go to the bathroom together, right? We like having that posse. Like we like having that, you know, that girl power strength. And so much of that exists here.
Yeah.
And so, can you speak a little bit to the community that you've found?
Mm-hmm.
Like, because the community is so important. I mean, yes, we love the products, we love getting paid, but this is a relationship business and connections are so important.
Mm-hmm.
The community is really what.
Yeah.
So can you kind of speak to
Yeah.
how
So I went to that first reunion alone. But then within our Facebook community, we were still pretty small. And so we connected and we built a group of people that we all became friends. And it was really motivating. We just worked together and we asked each other questions, and it was really nice to have those people. But then when I went to St. Louis for Scentsy Family Reunion in 2014, that was our 10-year, I think, with Scentsy, and right, yes. And I connected with some people, and that changed a lot for me too. I wasn't a director yet. I still had that in mind. I was still growing, but meeting those people and making those connections was gigantic. My best friend, Brittany Oots, she and I are still best friends. We talk like every day. We FaceTime almost every single day. And it's not even about Cynthia, you know, like sometimes we might say something about it, but it's just we love each other. And I would never in my life have been able to meet her. Christina had a YouTube channel. She found Christina on YouTube. She joined Christina's team. She came to St. Louis. We didn't know anybody, so we roomed with a bunch of strangers, which, like, who in their right mind is like, oh yeah, let me go to this completely different town in a completely different state and just room with all these strangers. But we knew that we were safe. We knew that this community was safe for us, that the Christina wouldn't lead us astray or let us stay with people, that she thought were crazy or, going to kill us or something. So we trusted that. And Brittany and I connected over what are those butterscotch candies that old people always eat?
Werther's?
Werther's. Yeah, so they had like caramel apple flavor and they looked like a butthole. And and we laughed and laughed and laughed and laughed about that piece of candy. But it's that feeling that, oh my gosh, like it, because I'm an extrovert and because I'm so social and I'm a words of affirmation kind of girl, and that connection for me was all the energy I needed, like, and even now, like this past year and a half has been so hard for me because the connection has not been there. So when I went to Branson last year and was finally able to be around all these people who were all superstar directors, and I was brand new and I felt completely out of place. And then they just, you're a part of this community that everyone feels the same. And I think part of being a leader sometimes, I don't even remember what the question was that you asked me, so I'm just going off on a tangent. The community, right? Okay. So I just think that, sometimes part of being a leader means that you're with people who need you and who want some, not in a bad way, but want something from you to teach them, to help them grow, to lead them. And sometimes you feel like you're alone, but then when you go and you're with these other people who are doing the same thing and they fill your cup, it's like incredible and almost like I don't even feel like I'm worthy or deserving of this because these people are so amazing, and then you come back with this feeling of like, maybe I'm amazing, like maybe I have things about me that other people see, that because I've never really felt that way. And so, that's something that I don't know where you get that from outside of this, because I mean, it's just that there's just this different level and it's very hard to explain. And so maybe I should pray and say, give me the words, because I'm just rambling. But it's just pretty amazing. When you work in a job, I'll do this little tangent and then I'll let you ask your next question. When you work in a job, you have a boss and you have a boss's boss and you have a boss's boss's boss. And then you have all of your little friends that work with you in your cubicles around you. And you and your friends in your cubicle, you are all trying to do the same thing. And you become friends. And that's your community when you're at work. But those people can't, I don't know what the word I'm looking for is. They can fill your cup, but I don't really know where I'm going with this.
No, go. Yeah, but I might be able to fill in for you. So just go. Just
okay.
Keep talking through it.
There's just a different level. When you're in a job, those people that you work with, they're going to leave and they're going to go somewhere else. And then you're not going to be a community with them anymore. And if you stay, other people are going to come and you're going to build a new community, and then they're going to leave. And then the cycle continues, because nobody at the top is trying to make you feel good about yourself. Their only purpose is for you to produce. if that makes sense.
Mhm.
When I worked, so I have ADHD, obviously, through this conversation. And I have a very hard time staying on task, completing tasks, not getting sidetracked. So I tried medication for 1 month. I went to a psychiatrist, anxiety. I was like, duh. And so he prescribed me with a medication. And we had a bonus at my job where if you hit all your numbers or whatever, you got like a $50 bonus for the month. Woo. And one time I earned that bonus. Can you guess which month that was? When I was taking medicine. But my point in that is they did not care if I grew as a human being, if I had more education, if I had a concern. It didn't matter. What mattered was if I was producing the numbers so that they can make the money.
Mhm.
But with Scentsy, I produce my numbers for me. And I produce my numbers to show what can be done. And if I'm having a rough time and I need to take a break, nobody's going to come and punish me because I didn't do something that I wasn't capable of doing. I'm not going to be punished because I took a day off. I'm not going to be punished because of whatever. And so again, like, I feel like I'm off track, but
No.
there's a community that you get with Scentsy where honestly, when I got sick last month, I had a group of people who I was able to share in that with. Not one single person would I have ever known unless I was a part of this community. Yeah. And every single one of those people impacted me, prayed for me, encouraged me, lifted me up, and listened to me and shared with me. And it's just, I didn't get that from anybody at my church. Not to say that church is bad. I love my church. I'm not fully invested right now, so they might not have even known.
Yeah.
But that level of care, and my friends, they sent me flowers. Nobody sends me flowers. My husband doesn't send me flowers, and I would rather him buy me a pair of shoes. But like, they sent me flowers. They were my best friends, and I would have never known them if I had not joined Scentsy. And that's a community that I want to be a part of because I did the same thing for them.
Well, and going through high school and college, I was always super involved in anything that interested me that I could get my hands on through that channel. And however, in that type of environment, in the high school and in college, there are opportunities coming your way all the time to be part of communities. You could be a part of a sports team. You could be a part of National Honor Society. You could be a part of, in college, the Greek community or a service organization. There's opportunities constantly flying past you. And then you become an adult, and those opportunities become less and less thrown in your face. And why I bring that up is because community is so important to us as women. Again, we don't even like to go to the bathroom without each other. So when you this is why I started my Scentsy journey, is because after college, I was a lost soul. I didn't know. I tried to get involved in things. It wasn't giving me that community that I wanted. It wasn't giving me a group of people where we were all working toward our own goals, but the paths were similar. Because, and so I found this foundation that I had been missing. This void had been filled, not because of the product. The product is just what brought me to the community.
Right.
And so I feel like that's why so many of us involved in this are like, it's checking a ton of boxes for me as a woman. The
Mm-hmm.
recognition, where in our life outside of this are we really being recognized for being a good wife and a good mom and a good neighbor? And yeah, we probably get sprinkles here and there, but doesn't it feel good when your team leader is saying, "I am so proud of you.
Mm-hmm.
You are a contributing member to this community." There is such empowerment. We've all grown because of what Scentsy has allowed us to become.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that to your point, because I was there too. I worked in an office. I had coworkers. We got together occasionally outside of work to get together and bitch about the boss or bitch about, something that happened. But then
Right.
we all go home and we're all working towards our own other, but our community is 24/7.
Mm-hmm.
It's 24/7, and there's support, there's lifting each other up. And so your example, even if you felt you were rambling, proved and drove home a point that, once again, this is why we find home here.
Mm-hmm.
This is why, is because of the people, because of the connections, because of the relationships, because it fills our cup. It checks a bunch of boxes. It's not just moving product. And that's a stigma in this industry, right? And we're a pyramid scheme, or you're just push, 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 push product. And
Mm-hmm.
we really are different here. If we weren't different, so many of us wouldn't celebrate a decade or more with the company. How many people
Right.
do you know stay with their company, direct sales or not, stay with
You're
their
right.
company for a decade?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I know a ton of my friends outside of Scentsy that switch jobs all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And so to feel like I found a place that's home where every day I get up and do something that I love and build upon what I've already done, and it's for me.
Mm-hmm.
And so you've done a very good job of getting us to be able to have this conversation right now, because I agree with you 100%. It is an opportunity for us as women and adults that where
Well, I think what you're saying too is valuable because when you get with your work friends, you're complaining.
yep,
Which what does that do?
yeah,
That takes your energy from here
yep.
to here. But when we share, we take our energy from here to here.
I love that so much.
That's every single interview that I do on my YouTube channel. I am when I finish, I am like almost in tears. Like I could almost just like my eyes are watering because every single interview, I, I'm highlighting them and their stories, and they're literally like moving me.
Yeah,
I I was watching Lindsay Bates interview with you,
yeah.
and I was listening to her talk, and I was listening to you share about that gift that she gave and what your team member had said. And I got chills. I'm driving down the road at like 9:45. My kid's asleep in the back, and I'm listening to your thing, and I like have chills in my whole body because you have the power to change like one person's life,
Mhm.
and it's insane. Like how many people grow up in an environment where they feel unimportant,
Mhm.
and or they feel like they're not good enough,
Mhm.
or I'm blessed because my parents have always made me feel like I could do anything. My dad tells me all the time, "You're awesome. You're awesome."
Yeah.
Like I don't know why he thinks I'm awesome, but he does. And so, and he's just as awesome. But like when you don't have that as a child,
Mhm.
we heard from Chloe Cox who talked about her story
Mhm.
and how her childhood, could have made her become less, or could make her become more. And that God-given spirit that she has to have the drive and the potential to be more, and to focus on the inside of ourselves, and to not let the hurt take us from the world that we were created to give to.
Yeah.
And I think that within the community, people can go from, I mean, Jody Farmer shared her story on my YouTube page, and I'm going to upload that today or tomorrow. And I would encourage anyone to watch it, because I don't want to share her story for her. But just hearing her talk about where she was when she started to where she is now, it's like she thought her whole life was going to be one way.
Yeah.
Because that's just how it always was.
Yeah.
And then someone said to her, hey, why don't you do this thing? And she did. Sorry.
That's okay.
Sorry, my husband was calling me. And she did. And I'm going to text him real quick. She did. And her, give me 1 second. I'm sorry. I know this is a video.
Oh, this is life. This is exactly how we navigate our days, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. And I have to plug in my phone too before it dies. We have a friend in the hospital, so my husband is.
You're fine. You are totally fine. Message him.
Okay. Anyways, my point being, we can go from what we think we're going to be our entire life to being something completely different. Yeah. And I'll be very frank. Like, let's say, I don't ever plan to do this, but let's say in a year, I feel like this isn't my place anymore. Every single thing that I've learned about myself, about my abilities, about my skills, about my value would be taken to whatever I choose to do. And that is irreplaceable to me, because I mentioned earlier, I switched jobs. If I had not joined Scentsy and started achieving goals, I would have never, ever, ever taken the opportunity to go to that other job, because I would have never felt confident enough to actually get it.
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't even know, like 7 years later, and I still remember that feeling of like, you know what? I don't deserve to be treated this way. I'm going to go work at this other place and do what I want to do. And I did, because I knew that I had value.
Yeah. And
if I didn't show people that they should treat me better, they're not going to.
Yeah.
You know, and I, even though I had ADD, ADHD, and I had a really hard time when I switched jobs. Well, first of all, my boss was very A type. So she would give me lists, and I would accomplish them. Like, I would end up getting other people's work because I would get the things done, which, you know, is crazy, because I couldn't even get my own crap done before. But I do believe that she valued that in me. You know what I mean? Like, she saw that I could do things, and she valued that, and she pushed me to an extreme because she knew that I could be better. A lot of people had a hard time with that, because she was very, like, strict about things. But for me, it pushed me to be better. It showed me that I could do things, because I was really nervous when I quit my job and decided to work from home. I was really nervous that I would be lazy, because I can be, and that I would not do what I needed to do. And I definitely have days, and I'm working through struggles that I have to figure out why sometimes I'm worthless, you know, and sometimes I am a boss, and I'm figuring that out because I have the ability to do so. And that's something that's a whole separate other video, but you know, having the empowerment to say I can do these things is a really big deal to me.
Yeah. And that you are the master of your time.
Yeah.
Because because you have this business, you have the ability to wake up on a Tuesday and say, not today, not
Mhm.
today. I
Mhm.
need a mental health day. I need some
Yes.
self-care. That is important. And gosh, Ariel Huggins brought up the coolest thing, and this is going to stick with me for the rest of my life. And she said, as women, we are always running and we don't rest enough. That when
Mhm.
we do actually rest, it becomes recovery instead. And now
Mhm.
we're chasing our tail because you
Mhm.
can't, you coming out of recovery is exhausting, but taking time to rest is powerful. And I think that that is another one of the beauties in what we do. It is a life by design.
Mhm.
How cool is that?
Yeah.
I absolutely love Scentsy has changed my life. I will never be able to step foot in an office again and go to my desk and punch a time clock. This
Mhm.
has changed me. It's changed my perception of how I can work. I can work toward building myself. I can work toward my own goals. I can work. Listen, if it gets done or it doesn't get done, the only one it impacts is me.
Exactly.
And that truly
Exactly
is
right.
the beauty of this life by design.
Mhm. I appreciate that I can drop my kid off at school, and if I don't feel good, I can lay down and take a nap.
Yep. Absolutely.
Like, I don't have to take a day off. I don't have to work extra hours in the evening because I was late to work. I don't, you
Yeah.
know, and not to say that I don't have to show up, you know, we got to
Precisely.
show up.
We have to show
We got
up.
to show up.
Another
But
that's that's another thing in this industry that we can debunk is that we just all sit back with our feet up and collect a paycheck.
absolutely,
If we don't show up,
we don't get paid.
we don't our organization looks to us to steer the ship.
Exactly.
We have people that depend on us, and that's a good feeling
Yes.
because it's that accountability portion.
Mhm.
Um, if you were to write a book about anything, what would you write about? What would it be?
Well, I do have a whole Hallmark movie in my head, but if I were going to write something more motivating and less
Oh, you
ridiculous,
can write whatever kind of book you want.
um, man, I have a really hard time with people like Rachel Hollis because I believe that anybody can say any of those things.
Yeah.
Like totally.
Yeah.
And um honestly, I would write about finding the power within you, which I think her ex-husband just wrote about. But and I need to get that book and read it because I actually like him. But like in believing in yourself.
Yeah.
I mean, my team is called Warming Up with the Believers for a reason.
Yeah.
I want you to believe in yourself because if you don't believe in yourself, no one else is going to believe in you.
Amen.
And it's ridiculous. Like
Mm.
I can't even imagine. I can't even imagine just sitting back thinking this is going to be my life and it sucks and everybody owes me everything.
Me neither.
I can't even fathom. Like like I don't know. It just blows my mind.
Yeah.
Like you know, my husband and I were talking last night about like, you know, if I didn't do something anymore, you know, because I'm very busy right now. And so I'm a little stressed out. And um I was like, man, wouldn't it be nice if I could just like sit around and watch TV all day like he thinks I do, I think. I don't know. But it's that same concept that Ariel said,
Yeah.
you know, we don't take time to like rest.
Well, let me let you in on a little secret. If you didn't do Scentsy and you converted to a life of just sitting on the couch and watching TV, you actually wouldn't be able to do that because of your personality and because you when people say they're so busy they've got to strip everything away and I just want to float through the day and sit on the couch and watch TV.
Mhm,
We're too driven for that.
mhm.
You would find something else to replace. You would be just as busy doing something that you might like a little less,
Yeah,
you know?
yeah,
Because we're busy people. Busy people are the ones that make things happen.
yeah,
And even though you described yourself as lazy in the beginning, I think that you can't be busy and lazy at the same time. And you
yeah.
can't be lazy and overwhelmed at the same time. Maybe you can. If you're lazy and you're just like, I can't do a single thing. And so I'm overwhelmed because I don't even know where to.
Well,
And,
that's mostly where I live. It's
and
mostly
well,
anxiety.
let's
It's
be real.
not, it may not be laziness.
Yeah. So, hey, listen, and I am an anxious person and I worry all the time. And even though in my head I say all the time, worry is wasteful, worry is wasteful, worry is wasteful, I still am just a worrier by nature. I come from a
Mhm.
history of worriers. I'm just going to chalk it up to her
We call that generational anxiety. That's what
generation.
that's called.
Well, thank you for putting a term on it.
You're welcome.
Um, so how do you treat yourself then? How do you take that rest component? How do you treat yourself? How do you reward yourself?
Um, I don't know. Um, I go out to eat a lot. Because I like to be um present in the moment, not have to worry about cleaning things up, not have to worry about what I'm gonna do, what I'm gonna make. It's not a good thing necessarily. I also, I like TJ Maxx, but to be honest, I really don't know.
So
I mean,
maybe
I feel like I mean, my money is gone, but whenever I get it, but like, is it purposeful sometimes? Um, I do really, I do go to the chiropractor once or twice a month because I have scoliosis, so I have to stay. Um, I don't wouldn't say that that's a treat so much as self-care. I do sometimes treat myself to a salt cave session. If you don't know what that is, you should definitely do it.
oh,
You would freaking love
what is
it.
it?
So a salt cave is a room that's like filled with Himalayan salt. And while you're in there, well, the floor is Himalayan salt, and they have these like lawn, like layback lawn chairs in there, like the really nice ones, and they like pump Himalayan salt. So it's like the equivalent of being at the ocean for 3 days.
Okay.
And so it's really good for your energy. It removes the positive ions that create the negative energy, and it I think it, or maybe it's atoms. I don't really know. I'm not sciencey, but it does something good for your body that makes you positive. It allows for like very calming relaxation. I've done it with my leaders before, and it was really, really cool to like, it was like a manifestation type thing where like they played this meditation voice, and like um it's just really good to like take those moments
Yeah.
to like really absorb where you're at, to allow you to remind yourself to take deep breaths, because that's so good for our blood flow and our oxygen. And it's also really good for sinuses. It's really good for blood pressure. It's just overall, it's very healthy for you.
I'm gonna have to look into this. I've never heard
It's
of it
freaking
before.
amazing.
Okay, but I
So
will tell
amazing.
you, since we're talking about the Himalayan salt for a second,
Yeah.
yeah, this is so silly, but I believe what you're saying for this reason. We have 3 Himalayan salt warmers,
Uh-huh.
scent warmers in our bedroom, and I have this is so crazy, okay? Christina and I can relate to each other with being crazy plant ladies, but this plant was terrible in a different part of our house.
Uh-huh.
Horrible. And so I moved it to our bedroom, not because of the salt lamps, that kind of happened at the same time.
Uh-huh.
And this thing is thriving. And I'm like, all the plants in our bedroom. And it's not because of the light. I've got plants downstairs in our house that have the same light coming in, but all the plants in our bedroom thrive. And it's
So
just,
what does that say as a human being?
tell me.
If a human being surrounds themselves with those positive energies, you can only thrive,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
You could be suffocating without air.
Mhm.
But if you take the time to rejuvenate yourself, what else could you do? You
Mhm.
know, you could only thrive, right? I mean, think about that.
Yeah.
If your plant can thrive because of those salt lamps, then what can you do?
Yeah. Oh, I
I
love
mean, dude, that's,
way to
ooh,
way to tie this together.
dude,
We're a good
I'm
team.
telling you. I'm
Uh,
telling you, self-work, it's kind of crazy. I've learned a lot in the last year, and
yeah.
I don't do it enough, but
Yeah. I have started really taking time by myself in a quiet space and just thinking, letting my thoughts just kind of run, seeing where
mhm,
my mind will take me. And it has been a really healthy thing for me. It's
mhm,
been very healthy because we don't take enough time. There's
yeah,
so much noise all around us all the time. And so,
mhm,
but yeah, the self-care and the mental health is, I mean, you know that, and you know that I'm married to a mental health specialist. But you see, you two are just so much alike. It's unbelievable.
well, that's why everyone thinks I'm your
Yeah, they do.
wife.
Um, tell me things that you love. Just throw them at me. What do you love?
um, well, obviously I love my family and my son. I love California. It's my favorite place. I feel at home and at peace when I'm in California. It's why I like to watch reality shows, which is so weird. Because I love seeing California. Um, I
Does that tie back to something? Where does that come from?
I don't know. I just love it.
That's
We
awesome.
went there for our honeymoon,
Okay.
and um it just stole my heart. And one of my goals is that my husband's a teacher. So one of my goals is that if the world ever goes back to normal, which it won't, um, that we would spend 3 weeks in California every summer. Like that's my winter bird, Florida. um, I just stole my heart. Um, so I also really love succulents. Looking at them, just I don't know. There's just something about them that they're so pretty. I don't really have a lot because I kill plants.
Yeah.
I guess I need more salt lamp warmers.
Yeah. You do.
um, I love my Beats headphones. Because that's so stupid.
No, there's no such thing as stupid.
I
So,
think that
like, what
they're freaking amazing.
I mean, like, do you put them on and rock out?
No,
Well, then
but
why?
I think about doing it. It's the dumbest thing, I'm telling you.
It's not dumb.
Because they're so pretty. They are so pretty. And the sounds that come out of them are so good. I'm telling you, I'm like the weirdest person. So I love rose gold. Like anything rose gold is
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
my life.
Yeah.
And I love it. I love pretty little things and pretty little, like this little, I rarely, oh, well, here. I rarely use this thing, but I love it because it's so pretty. I don't know. I love Scentsy, obviously, because I sell it and it's freaking amazing.
What song could come on and it's the song. Like, it's like,
Um,
let's
Apologize by One Republic. That's my jam. Or yeah, by by Usher.
that makes me think of my days at the club. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
I
Yeah.
also really like. I also really like Michael Bublé.
Oh, well,
I
depends.
mean, big difference there, but
Hey, depends on the mood.
if you've never seen Michael Bublé in concert, it is something I totally recommend. He's got the best personality. He's got the best sense of humor. He is really incredible, and he's got an amazing voice.
Yeah.
Like, that's what I always wanted to like go to New York, because he used to do that Christmas special in New York every year, and I always wanted to do that, but he doesn't do it anymore. But
what is the best compliment you've ever received?
I don't know. I really don't. I don't know. That's a really hard question to answer.
I'm making you sit in that for a second.
Mm-hmm. I really don't know. I would say, and not in any particular event, but like when anyone says that I inspired them, like even just you at the beginning of this saying, that I inspired you or that I'm amazing, like those words mean a lot to me, because I don't usually feel that about myself. And I mean, I think in general, we're taught not to feel those things about ourselves. Because we don't want to be selfish. We don't want to get a big head, And so, it's, I mean, if I were going to be cheesy, which I can get cheesy, I would say the greatest compliment I could ever get is that Jesus died for me. I mean, what better thing would.
Why is it cheesy?
I mean, I guess it's not, but.
You know what's so funny is that we are so quick to preface things we say about ourselves. We're so quick. It's like, if I said, I'm going to remove, so that Melissa doesn't think I'm cheesy or weird, I'm going to say it first. I'm going to say I'm cheesy or weird, and then I will have already put it out there. And so, but isn't it funny? We preface so much of who we are, what we think, or what we believe.
Mm-hmm.
Because I would never think it was cheesy, and I would never think you were weird for any of the things that you said. And actually, to piggyback on your compliment of being inspiring, I want to assure you that there will be more than one person when they watch this interview that will relate to you, and you will inspire the shit out of them. Because you are so, Sarah, you are so authentic. You're so authentic. You're not blowing smoke. You tell it like it is. Like, listen, here it is. Might be weird, might be cheesy. I'll preface that, but you're so relatable. And you're real.
That. And it's hard to be that sometimes, because it makes you vulnerable.
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course. But sometimes being on the other side of that vulnerability feels really good.
Mm-hmm.
Is there a question you wish I would have asked you?
I mean, that's a good question. I don't know.
Okay. So you can use this time to say anything that you want to take us out of the interview. You can say anything that you want.
Well, when you leave it open like that, it gives me moments to be emotional a little bit. Because what I said before, and I always get emotional when I talk about this, is that I always want people to believe in themselves. And if you're watching this and you don't believe that you can do something for whatever reason it is, the truth, not the lies that we tell ourselves, not the lies that the devil tells us, not the lies that the people that hated you tell us, but the truth is that there are always going to be people that love you. There are always going to be opportunities for you, and you can do anything that you want to do. It might take time. It might hurt a little bit. You might get a few scars, but you can do it if you really and truly care about it enough to try. And I think that that's really all that, needs to be said.
And that's why your team name is what it is.
Hmm.
So would you say that your word, if you could pick one word, would it be belief or believe? Or would you pick something else? One
I
word.
would probably say that.
Yeah.
Believe, because I'm a believer in God, and I'm a believer in people, and that people can always change and be different. You know, every time that I see someone struggling, that I don't have the power to help that, to help them, it breaks my heart a little bit, because I feel like, man, it makes me emotional, but I feel like nobody ever really gives them the opportunity to believe in themselves. Like, I saw a reel on Facebook yesterday. This man was like getting going went into the coffee shop and was asking for a water. And the guy behind him was like, get whatever you want, dude. I'll pay for it. Like, and he was like, oh, I just want water. It's okay. It's okay. And he was like, do you want a coffee? Do you want a muffin? Like, what do you want? And those things, I think we miss those opportunities. We don't look for them because we're so focused on ourselves that we miss those opportunities to be generous. And what I want the most in this world is for things like that to be the focus. Like, I don't want to see your reel of doing some milkshake dance. I want to know, like, that good things are happening in the world. you know Anyways.
Yeah, no, actually, and one of my favorite song lyrics is about that very thing. And it is, when I look up, I trip over things. And when I look down, I miss all the good stuff
Hmm.
because we're not spending enough time looking.
Hmm.
We don't
That's
see
so true.
people. We don't see we've gosh, and during pandemic, our smiles have been hidden behind masks. So we don't even share those anymore.
Hmm.
Our opportunities to help people have dwindled a smidge because I used to be like the compulsive cart returner for people in the grocery store parking lot. Like, when I get out of my car, I look for somebody loading their groceries so I can take their cart back. I need one anyway.
Hmm.
And even that has dwindled because even though I'll take their cart, nobody wants to take mine because we don't want to touch something somebody else has touched.
Hmm.
And so navigating through that and trying to find other ways, even holding the door open. I had a woman, I held the door open for her, and she like didn't want to get close to me and I'm just like, man, we've lost so much human connection. And we are looking at our phones. Actually, and I think it was a commercial for a cell phone company, or maybe it wasn't for a cell phone company, it was for something else, but it probably wasn't, because the whole point of the commercial was put your phone away. So it probably wasn't
Hmm.
for a cell phone, but there were a man and a woman approaching a street corner, and they both were on their phones, and they bumped into each other, and they it said sorry, and they walked past each other. And then they showed it again, and he was out jogging and she was walking her dog, and they weren't on their phones and they were looking up, and they bumped into each other, and it fast forwarded to their wedding.
Hmm.
And to me, that is such a poignant moment
Yeah.
because in an instant of not looking up, you could miss the greatest thing in your life.
Wow, how powerful is that? Man.
It's so crazy. In an instant, chance meetings, when they happen,
Hmm.
you don't want to miss them.
Right.
It could be you meeting Brittany. It could be, meeting, it could be anything, meeting somebody in an elevator. It could be Jen Audette complimenting a woman's shoes underneath a bathroom stall that converted to thousands of dollars of Scentsy orders.
Mm.
There are opportunities in front of us everywhere to make somebody's life better,
Hmm.
even if it's to turn their day around.
Hmm.
There's opportunities to meet someone who could change your life. There's opportunities for you to meet some and you change theirs.
Hmm.
They change yours. It's just a really cool thing. We have the power.
Hmm.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much.
Thank
So
you.
much. I loved this conversation. I loved you and I can feed very well off of each other, I think.
Mhm.
Right? And if we don't, then don't tell me. I'll just
Mm.
believe that.
I agree. I
Uh,
agree.
but I'm grateful for you. I'm
Yeah.
honored to be a peer of yours in this crazy little thing that we do.
Me too.
And thank you for making all of us better because you're it. You're around us.
Oh, well, thank you. You too.
You're
You
welcome.
too. I hear that all the time from everyone. Everyone
You
loves
couldn't
you.
think of a compliment. You couldn't wait, what?
I'm saying from about you.
No, don't no, this is about you. This is about
Well,
you.
I'm just saying, like everyone loves Melissa.
Well,
Everyone.
thank you for that.
You're welcome.